So good evening, welcome to the Donny Chain Gang once again with me, Matt Payne, on the commentary. A pleasure putting words to the action so far in the Chain Gang this season. The virtual Chain Gang coming once again tonight from London. We're on the Greater London Flat. Now this is a pretty big circuit, and let's show you a little bit of that detail in a moment. First of all, we need to talk to the boss, that is Russ Downey. Just spot him on the screen. Let's see what Russ has to say for himself about tonight's action and who we've got coming along. So let's have a quick chat with Russ and see if we can't get a quick word with the man himself. So hopefully Russ on the end of the phone line and all keyed up, ready to go. We'll soon find out. The question is, has he got his undervest on? It looks like he has, always a bonus in the weather at the minute. A little bit cold out there, so hopefully going to get through to Russ. He's probably busy typing, if I know Russ.
Oh, nearly missed you.
I thought that was, we were going to find that it was going to be one of those classic comedy gold moments. How are you, Russ?
I was unplugging one power source to plug in some earphones to drop a keyboard. Multitasking and just, watching the numbers rise really. 82 now. We're just having some guesses and see if we can get up towards 100. It'd be mega, you know. So it's going to be a busy one tonight.
Definitely, and you had no socks on last time. I see you've got a flat cap on tonight. Is that just to truly bring a bit of Yorkshire down into London?
Yeah, a little recovery ride around Yorkshire yesterday, and I knew Joey Walker comes on. I'm like, Joey, leave me alone. I just want to ride on my own. And then I looked up and went to the garage, and I had a flat cap available, so I thought, yeah, bang it on, you know.
Got to be done.
It's going to be cold, so I'll put some socks back on.
Excellent. That's what we'd like to see. And we've got some great guests as well. A few regular names and a few new names as well.
Yeah, the Facebook page is getting really popular now, you know. Added about 10 people to that over the last few days, so it's going good. So I'm just looking at the numbers rise. It's 96 now. I reckon we're going to top out over 100, which is going to be amazing. So
it's going to be good. It's going to be very, very quick. And just quickly before we let you get into your pace and get warmed up, how many laps are you going to try and hold it together tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4?
1 or 2, you know. We've got this running into town, so they're just actually asking now. So try not to ignore them or still do as they wish. So yeah, you know, it's going to be a big group. So let's try and get a few people down the mile. Might stop for a big group photo or something on the mile and then get going again.
That sounds great. Well, listen, we're going to let you get back to controlling everybody. Looks like I've just seen Connor Swift jump on and Matt Stevens in there. So you've got your work cut out. Good luck, Russ. Thanks for jumping on. Get those legs warmed up. You're going to need some...
Just Joey Walker, Ross Lamb. So yeah,
brilliant.
Some good guys. So I'll catch you later, Matt.
Catch you later. Good luck, Russ. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So thank you very much to Russ. Before we dive, a couple of minutes to go to the start, let's just show you the course itself. The course obviously absolutely critical to how the ride will go on the Chain Gang. Russ trying to keep it all together initially, and as you can see from the map on the screen, we come in on the red run-in, we move up on to the return, so you come from the riverside, you climb up, you do the out and back on the classic course. You just see the blue dot going along it now, up the hill and does a little zigzag, then through the sprint, up Constitution Hill and back down, round the side of the river, heading back round towards Vauxhall, and then you come up towards the Serpentine Hyde Park corner, little dip and climb before running down and back into the finish. The course itself is 11.6 kilometres or 7.2 miles long. The elevation, well, the height gain of 45 metres. Leading is 5.7 kilometres. That's 3.5 miles. So a really fast circuit, very, very flat. If it splits, it will either split on the zigzags as you come up towards the Serpentine or on the little bridge underpass at Hyde Park corner. So you drop down and in. So let's jump back out from the map. And we're going to start moving across to that start line, which is already starting to look quite busy, as you can see. A big pack of riders just looking at the beacon at the moment. and that beacon, and that is Russ Downing. He's our ride leader, and Russ instrumental in making the Donny Chain Gang happen as well. And we're just taking a little bit of a look down at Russ at the moment. Ignore your screen, you're not looking at me, believe me. I'm not going to be going very fast at all. I'm in there. Looks like some great names. Jay Walker's in. It's Annie Simpson is in as well. And I think we're going to take it really easy all the way into the man. We've got a huge amount of riders in there, and lots of female riders joining the guys out there. We've had some very, very fast times seeing the return of Ali Akers as well. So the riders up and away, and this is where we see the group just moving out. Big pack, well over 100 riders at the start line, and that's what we're looking for. So some regular names in here. Wayne Elvin's in this group. Annie Simpson, as we've mentioned, sitting in the group. Daryl Clark is in. Daryl wearing the Enduro the Quebec black kit. Rob Copeland making a return. Fast man Rob from Chef Wreck. Right up and in this group as well. Looks like Oral is back once again. Harrison from Tuxford. Looks like we've got Chris Hilbert here as well. Good to see Chris on the event. Good to have you, mate. And Chris, of course, a prolific mountain bike and cross rider, and not to be sneezed at on the road as well. Pretty quick lad. Just don't mention goats, believe me. It's not his favourite subject at the moment. Neither's thistles. So our riders up and racing and riding, and at the moment the guy's trying to hold it all together, and just seeing coming through, just seeing Dan Cogan coming through. Looks like he's up here riding strongly as well. Looks like Evans is in there, and at the moment, and it looks to me like this group is riding out in reasonably smart fashion, and looks not too broken up. So whilst we're on the running, let's take a little bit of a dive down, and let's see if we can't have a closer look at some of our riders on the way through. So here we go, the riders on the way in, and we can just see, I can just see Dan Evans here now. Dan and Jess Evans, both great hill climbers. They've been on an Assos mountain ride. They've been heading off around the hills of Watopia, and this is a double event for them. So they're coming back to this. Good luck to Dan and to Jess, because that is going to take some doing. As we take a little bit of a scroll around through the streets of London here, as we run along the side of the river here, just taking a look at back down. One or two people just on the back here, and I think I can see Scott Thwaites' jersey there, because that looks to me like an Alpecin Phoenix jersey. It is. So the Alpecin Phoenix rider Thwaites, who was on form on Tuesday night in this group. He was absolutely unstoppable on the climb of Innsbruck Ring on the Tuesday, and he sprinted up there, and only 2 or 3 riders could go through with him. Initially he was whittled down to 2. Fraser yet again doing loads of work, getting himself right up there, but unable to finish off in the same style that we saw Thwaites do it. I mean, Scott's power was immense. He went in, and certainly it seems to be breakaway city when we go to Innsbruck Ring. So a real who's who on here. We've got the National Road Champion, that's Connor Swift here from Arkea Soundsik. So let's have a little bit of a look at Swifty. How much power is he kicking out? Bearing in mind Russ is putting out 268 watts. It looks like Connor here, he is the man who is in the jersey, in that red jersey with the black shorts on there. We're going to just try and lift our camera angle up a little bit. There we go. Arkea Soundsik rider. And that is Connor, and we can't zoom out too far, because what we'll do, we'll get tangled up in the trees. But as you can see, looks like Connor's in there, being trailed here by Annie Simpson. Annie, of course, representing OT, one of our fantastic sponsors. And I'll say a massive thank yous to the guys at Grand Tour Coffee, to Halo Wheels, Pinarello, to OT, of course, Wahoo, HMT Hospitals, and of course Mallorca Cycling. All these guys helping Daring Cycling and myself, Matt Payne from Full Speed Events, make the event happen, and that's why we're getting such a great turnout. Great to see the feedback. Make sure you send the links around to your friends for the live coverage to come and have a ride on the legendary Donny Chain Gang. Remember, we start off with a steady ride in, and then it starts to wind up, and that's when you'll find that pretty much everybody is likely to be dropped. There's no disgrace at not finishing in the front group of the Donny Chain Gang. There never has been, and there never will be. That's because it's populated by absolute superstars. We've had people like Malcolm Elliott on here. We've got Connor Swift, the man who we are watching at the moment. We've got, of course, Matt Stevens in here, and we know that he is a very quick rider still, despite spending more time talking about the racing than riding these days. We've got Brenton Jones in here. Let's have a little bit of a look at Brenton. He's not too far away as Brenton just makes his way along here. And you can just see this group working its way down nice and smoothly. Not too many people getting distanced as we come down the down along the side of the embankment. We're soon going to be taking that right hand turn in a minute. Looks like John Smith having made it. So Smitty's made it from OTE, from the Saddle Club. So well done to John. We've seen one or two people on the Facebook pages where the links are telling us they've just been getting new turbo trainers looking to get as much power out as they can, enough braking to get maximum resistance, but the guy's just about holding it together at the moment. Nobody going too silly at the moment, but this is where it starts to get tough because we're going up onto the climb. This is going to go up to 4% now, and if we just take a little bit of a look back behind, this is where we're looking to see who's in that group. Looks like pretty much all together, not too many riders being distanced at the moment. Behind us, only one rider just feeling the pressure at the moment, just being distanced a little bit as the riders go up pretty smoothly here. It's not breaking up too much, and just going to take a little bit of a flick back just to see who's in here. Looks like Andy Roach is back in once again. Mr. Wise is in it, and he's in here. Wow, it really is a who's who of a race, and you can see why so many of the pros want to come and ride in with the Donny chain gang. So our riders up and riding. Looks like Russ just sitting up near the back of the group. Scott Thwaites is at the back of the group. That's not going to happen for long, that is for sure. Right alongside Connor Swift, just nearer to the back of the group. Just watching Emma just going on to the back there of Egg. As the groups go through, looks like Double, Johnson, Knight and Little just starting to feel the pressure. But lots of these riders coming in off the back of some serious training as well, and that makes a big difference. If you've been out and training, that is going to really make a huge difference to how hard it is when you go onto the chaining gang, because if you've had a hard session, you're really going to feel this. Now let's take a little bit of a look. You can see a number of these riders starting to feel the pressure just at the back of this group. It looks like V-Bice in that group just starting to get distanced a little bit. Victoria Chavares is one of the riders just being distanced a little bit with a white helmet there. Regular rider on the Donny Chenko, comes from Costa Rica. And Vic just been just a distance, a touch. I think they're going to just have a little bit of a regroup. She's just in front of Emma Payne, who's racing to get back onto the back wheel there. As we just see Wayne Alvin just up the road. Dan Evans, so surprised to see him sitting at the back of that group. That the gaps are starting to open a little bit early here. So let's see if they can pull it back. And you just see here that Emma just pulling around the side of Vic at the moment. Now, sitting in this group is tricky. Looks like Mr. Allen is just in here. It looks like plenty of people already trying to wind it up as we go into this sprint. So, the front of the group really are working hard. Jess Evans, we just see him pushing up and shoving the pace up at the moment. And looks like we're going to see some words from Russ here. I suspect we're going to have Russ just wanting to close the group down on the front and just get everybody back together. So Jess just working her way up into that group. We'll just go focus down on Russ. And Russ just sitting down at the back end of that group just to let everybody get back on again. When you've got riders like Dan Evans 12 seconds down. You know, Dan was working hard on the previous event. It is a back-to-back for him. That takes some going. It looks like a few people already giving it some big beans on the way through the sprint line, and of course we get to see this back when we look up the course. The experienced pros, they're just sat in the bunch cruising. They know exactly what they need to do. So you can just see Scott Thwaites here, and that is the rider up in the purple there. Is with the Upson Phoenix jersey. He's the man who we're looking to get on there. So let's see if they're going to be able to back off enough, or whether the group dynamic is going to push everybody on. Looks like plenty of people are pushing up 3.5s There's a 5.5 watts per kilo up at the front. I don't see the front of this coming back anytime soon, because that group is really going to have to slow off on its way through. So at the moment, we're just taking a little bit of a look up towards the front of this group, with Russ just putting the pressure on to hold that group back, get the group a little bit more inclusive. So if we just take a little bit of a zoom back, you can just see riders fighting to get back on again. But I think at the moment, as Chris Hilbert works his way up in through this group, Chamberlain up through this, so we are looking for the riders going, and looks like everybody pretty much backing off. So the riders on the front, hopefully watching their screens and keeping an eye on there. Looks like Mark Rugby is out today, Mr. Toy is out today, and it looks like they're backing it down to about 2.83 watts per kilo. Let's see if that stays the same. Looks like Sawyer at the moment is the man who's pushing on at the front, and I think he's likely to incur the wrath of a certain Mr. Downing, as we're wanting everybody to back off the gas, and that is just to keep everybody back together again. So we'll just take a little bit of a camera shot. You can just see the 100 riders, well over 100 riders we started off with, and at the moment the groups are breaking up. So let's have a look at Chris Hilbert. Hilbert is in here. Simon Warren in this group. Mark Thwaites is in this group as well. So these riders are working through. Fraser is in the group, 200 watts for him. Simo is in here. So what's Annie sitting at the moment? Annie Simpson sitting at 3.3 watts per kilo, just to hang into that group, and that is sufficient pace to, you're not going to see very many people would be able to get back onto the pack at that kind of speed. So it looks to me, just watching Fraser just get himself back on, he's having to do 5 watts per kilo to get on. Dan Cogan is working hard here, Andy Roach is hard up in this group. They're just pushing for us. We're just pushing our way back through this group. We're going to see just who's sitting down near the back of this group. Looks like John Smith out of the saddle is in there. Kaplinski sitting in this group. Jess Evans has made the cut as well. And it looks like Joey sitting nearer to the back of this group. Whitehead Gibbons is in here. Chris Herring's made it in there. Oh, no doubt he's going to get some earache on his way through from Russ, a very valuable contributor. So we're going to just take a little bit of a jump towards the back of the group. So it looks to me like Thwaites is sitting at the back of this group. Looks like Dean has been distanced on the way through as well. So look at that. Dean Downing, riding the standing of Dean Downing being at distance and being dropped early doors, not making it for one full lap. Crehan and a little bit further back. So it looks to me like Little just fighting to get onto Dean's wheel. He's got onto the back of the wheel of Dean there. Ali Akers, this is Alison Akers, a green jersey wearer, last time out when we were on to the mile, doing the business there, not quite being able to sit with that pace. Looks like Crehan just being dropped off a little bit. Fox is off the back there as well. So just watching these riders make their way in and along the straight, a big pack of riders still in the leading group. A few people now being distanced off the back, and then it'll just be nice and steady. And I think you need to see a little bit of a regroup on the way through. So let's take a quick look at Russ. Here we go, and Russ with that cap on, just sitting in that group, just following him on. This looks like this is Dean here, who's just making his way in. Mr. Phillips is in there, Thwaites is in there. The riders are all looking to keep in contact. You can't afford to let a wheel go. There is a 6 metre distance on Zwift, and that is when you're going to get maximum effect. Outside that 6 metre, you're going to lose the drafting effect. When that happens, that is when you have to work harder. Now, all of our riders producing a huge amount of watts already here as these riders go along. The gap's opening up in between these groups because the front of the group is really ripping it up at the moment. So it looks to me like the very front still continuing to put the pressure on. Groups just starting to drift back towards Russ, and let's see if Russ is going to keep his cool here. Just dropping a thumb down on to Mr. Thwaites there as he makes his way into that group, just sitting in the group, not letting the gaps open up. Looks like Alan, the man who put a big attack in There's 6k to go, just sitting at the back of the group in the purple bike. Just seeing Daryl Clark make his way up into the middle of that front group as well. So these riders are certainly looking like they're managing to keep together. However, who is going to be holding at the back? Just watching Lamb here. He's in the Peugeot jersey at the moment. So Lamb just sitting in that Peugeot jersey with the Z on top. Just got Russ sitting behind him. And if we take a little bit of a zoom back, you can just see these are the riders that are just sitting at the back of the group as people start to get distance. Phillips still being hanging on there just about by 1 or 2 seconds. Dean just about flying into the back of the group. Let's have a little look behind Dean. Let's see if we can see how many people are going to be behind him as these riders come in and through. Looks like Phillips is just about holding that group. Can she stay with this group? A lot of work being done here. So as Dean gets on the back, let's have a little look. Phillips makes her way on here. So Phillips riding with the Stages kit on here at the moment, just dropping to 1.8 as she comes on, and looks like Chris Lawrence is just making his way back onto the group. Well done, Chris, good to see you here. And Chris Lawrence, the organiser of the Grits over in Barnsley, a regular rider, a very strong rider, very experienced rider. Has he got the tactics and the nous to ride on Zwift, riding a very basic Zwift bike by the look of it. Yep, on the basic Zwift bike and on the basic Zwift kit. So the odds are he's not been riding all that long. Now they are sitting just towards the back of the group are Phillips and Lawrence, with Thwaites holding the rear. Now the riders up at the back of this group, we're just taking a little bit of a look back down. Looks like Ali Akers is holding pace with Crehan here. So it looks like Ali is in the yellow and the black here. The red jerseys of that of Crehan. Behind them then it looks like another group just starting to form, and this is going to be Big Bang. The Zodiac sitting there at the front. It's got Elvin in there. Evans is just a little bit further back. You can just see Evans just trying to close on down. And looks to me like, is that Fred Gill? It could well be. Looks like he's already suffering now. Let's take a little bit of a further look back. Nice group forming here. This is really good because this is what we see on the Donny Chain Gang. We see these groups forming behind. So this is Barali. This is Vic Chavarius. We've got Knight in here. We've got Johnson in here. We've got Emma Payne in here. We've got Edwards of Shefrick in here. And we've got Team Egg Rider as well. And it looks to me like these riders have got a nice group going here. So at the moment, that is going to be 6, 7 on the way through. So 7 are making the way up the straight here. And this is a nice group if they can keep working together. They're not losing too much time at the moment on the group in front. That's the group containing Ali Akers. So we'll just jump up to the Akers group here. And this is another group forming just in front of them. Dan Evans in here, Ali Akers in here, Big Man's in here, Crehan is in here, and Elvin in this group. It looks like Gill could make contact with them. Then in front, it looks like the man from Team Gnarly just on his own. He's going to get swept by one of those groups. Phillips now just being dropped back a little bit here. And it looks like the group in the front is starting to stretch out a little bit more. So we're going to jump up into that main group with Thwaites at the moment. So jumping on with Scott Thwaites, a man who we know is going to be able to sit into that bunch quite comfortably. And you can just see the back of this group is feeling the pressure as they come on the way up this climb. Now as we go through these S-bends, this is where you're going to start to see people feeling the speed, because the gradient comes on and off on the way through these. We've seen 1%, 0%, 1, 2, 0 again. So we're going to see the guys there. So thanks very much, Russ. There's plenty to talk about already. Gru's getting smashed apart all over, and Russ just getting himself up to the front of the group. He's currently just dropping back a little bit. And I'm just seeing, I think this is going to be Ollie Akers. Now, for those of you who don't know Ollie is the high-fiving superstar of the future. He is a young rider who is currently making his way up through the Grace mountain bike and in cross. He's a handy road rider as well. But Ollie Akers, this young man, is notorious on his way to a medal at the National Cyclocross Championships. I think he was only 14 at the time. I was riding along, heading in towards the finish, high-fived me on the way down, whilst going through a peat bog pretty much on the side of Shrewsbury Cross. So watch out for Ollie Akers. You're going to see him kick out some phenomenal numbers because he doesn't weigh all that much. He's putting out currently about 4.2 watts per kilo to stay with people, and that is because he needs to be able to kick those watts out to be a national standard rider. The youth riding at the moment is very, very tough indeed. Some fantastic riders coming through, and if we do get competition again, he's certainly a rider who we're going to be looking to see taking the front of the pack now. Akers in here, looks like Downing, Thwaites, Clark in it, all sitting comfortably. Simo is in here, so Annie Simpson, a rider who spends more time running than riding these days, I think, if her social media feed is to be believed. The rider from OTA sitting in that group. Andrew Roach is in here. Let's take a little look at Andrew as we drop underneath the tunnel. So Andrew will be riding generally in a blue kit on his way through. We're going to have a little bit of a hunt through, I think, because this group is moving so fast. Sutcliffe's in if out of the saddle. Joey Walker's in here. We might be lucky and get on to Joey. Here we go. So let's have a little look for Joey, and we'll see if we can just pick him out in the group. He's in the Vitus kit. Not so easy to spot if we go to a slightly different angle. Here we go. So this is Joey Walker. This is the man who we are expecting to be right up there. A prolific winner and rider on Zwift, as well as, of course, taking a national crit title in Sheffield on home turf. And certainly one of those riders we know is going to be absolutely flying. So on the blue Tron bike there with the blue wheels, Joey just making his way through the group at the moment. And we'll just keep an eye on him on the camera here, so you can just see him moving his way up in the Vitus kit. Now taking a little bit of a look back, and we're going to have a little look. So who is going to be up near the front of this group? Who's pushing on the pace? Mark Thwaites pushing on the pace here. Looks like Matt Stevens has made the cut in here. Russ, Dean Downing, Karl Kaplinski in this group. It looks like Barnard's in here, another of our regular riders. Jess Evans has made this front group. She's riding very strong. Say she was out and racing. Let's have a little look. So here we go. The guys are just sitting in there and just watching Jess Evans there, just with that big thumbs up over the top. We just drop another one on for Jess now, just so you get the indication. So Jess with the thumb over the top there. A very, very good rider indeed. Definitely a rider to watch when it gets steep and it gets hilly. Bear in mind that she has been out and riding already. Now just going to take a little bit of a look. So I think that was Bell just coming through there, and another one of our riders who could be in contention for that green jersey, because this is a very fast moving, very big bunch. And just looking, Joe Tindley's in this group, so Tindley definitely one of the riders to keep an eye out for as she makes her way through. Just see it just centered in the screen in the green. We'll drop a thumb onto Joe. There we go. So Joe sits up there, currently pushing out, just hovering around that 300 watt mark, just backing off a little bit as we move through. So Joe sitting nicely up in that pack at the moment, and as you can see, not too far off the front, not wanting to let the gaps go. Looks like Joey Walker's moved his way up near the front as well. Now I think it is Belle who's up there, another one of the women who are going to be in contention for the green jersey and for the sprints, as we see the Donny Chegan sweeping its way in and around now. So here we go on the run into the first of the sprints. Who is going to be able to take this on, and who is going to be claiming those jerseys? We're going to keep an eye on Joe here in the women's sprint. We expect her to go. It looks like Scott Thwaites kicking off his feather at the moment as they go in. At the moment, I think Russ it is who's gone for it. He's gone early, has Russ. Looking at this, it looks to me like Russ is going to just go snatch this away from everybody else. He's going to get the early time in there. He gets some phenomenal watts per kilos. Joe Tinley's not too far off that pace. What is the time going to be, though, up near the front? I think Joey Walker was moving fast there. He was 10.71 for Joey Walker, but Russ Downing going through there and putting in a time of a 10.70. So Russ putting in a 10.70. Joey Walker coming through with a 10.71. That's a phenomenally quick time from both these riders, but if you look at those top 10 riders, everybody well under the 12-second mark. So as these riders now start to regroup, going up on to the climb now. This is at the side of Constitution Hill. You go up to the U-turn at the top. Let's have a little bit of a recap here. So it looks to me it is Russ Downing with a 10.7. It's Walker, Joey Walker with 10.71. Darrell Clark with a 10.74. There are top 3 riders, the best of the women. Well, that is going to be, I think, Joe Tinley. Well, look at that. We said Ollie Akers was quick. He's 5th in the sprint at the moment. The youngster showing the old fellas how it is done. Joe Tinley with a storming time there, an 11.84. So Joe really looking quick and taking the scalp of Connor Swift. The Arkea Stanzik rider not able to touch the top 10 at the moment. So fantastic riding there on the way through. A real who's who up at the front of this group. So we can see our riders are now making the way down behind this group. We'll take a little bit of a look back. So this is Dean. We're just keeping our eye on at the moment. Dean just sitting a little bit nearer the back of the pack in the orange cap. We just spiral around Dean at the moment. You can see Dean just sitting in the back of that group. Looks like Jess Evans is also sitting, hovering near the back, as is Williams. So it is Williams sitting on the back of the group here. Then Genther Smith, so John Smith and Genther just currently sitting at 30 seconds, 40 seconds. It's Ted and it's going to be Finch. So they're currently at 40 seconds down, and it's going to be the Shelley group. And let's take a little bit of a look at this Shelley group. So I think this is going to be Shelley and Lightfoot who are together here. So Shelley and Lightfoot are together. And then we've got another pair, two riders. I think Richards and Royals on the way up. Just watching Dan Cogan on his way, just making his way up the mile. He's in front of Ali Akers. Ali just having a little bit of a solo ride. He's not too far behind. I think we can see the Elvin Dan Evans group as they've just split up on the way in. So we take a look down. So let's have a look at Mr. Egg. So Egg is up here as well. He is currently just probably our last rider in the group there. As it looks like these are groups holding together. V-Bites, Crehan as well. So Vic, Crehan, along with Emma Payne, Edwards not too far away, Knight in that group. Then Ali Akers is 20 seconds in front of those. So you can just see these groups are moving up. So we make our way back up towards the front, just going past John Smith here, and John Smith and Genther, the 2 riders who are left chasing, and they are chasing this big pack of riders. You can just see Russ is at the back of this group. So there we go. So Jess is in here doing, can confirm she certainly has dropped down a long way back, 1 minute 36 seconds down. So I think it is 1:36 down to Dan. So it looks to me like it is definitely being distanced. The guys are getting dropped big style. It is certainly looking to me like there are plenty of people suffering. It's this Fraser who we've seen just holding in here. Rigby's having to use a power-up. Who's using an aero power-up to get back onto the group. So Rigby there using that power just to see that feather disappearing as he comes in and through. Well, it's still a big pack of riders. There's got to be 50 plus riders in this group who are absolutely motoring the way along here. They've got some of our women riders in there as well. Bell is definitely in this group, as is Tinley. Tinley taking the jersey that time round. Other names that people will recognise: Simon Warren, the man of 100 climbs, a Sheffield resident these days, along with Rob Copeland, who's hovering around beside him as well. And looking through here, looks like Darrell Clark is still looking quite quiet here. As we're just going to take a little bit of a look up at Darrell. You just see Darrell in the centre there with the Q for Quebec team jersey on there, just weaving down the side of the group. Looks like Ollie Akers is in this group as well. Chris Hilbert is in this group now. Chris Of course, a series that win a mountain bike round, winner of the National Series, a cracking cross rider as well. As these riders work their way through, just going to have a little bit of a focus in on Belle here, because it is Belle, I think, who is going to be one of our women riders in this group. Just see Belle in the jersey with the green, sorry, with the orange cap, the grey sort of middle, and the pink sleeves, grey shorts. Just riding to the right, and just seeing Belle on her way as well. So it looks to me this is very, very tight group in the way through. Looks like Shaw from Sitwell is in there as well. So definitely plenty of the South Yorkshire and the Derbyshire Mafia that we'd expect as these riders continue. So Belle at the moment, we're just keeping an idea of just how she's doing. She's the rider. And just go back on what I said earlier. So it is Belle is the rider who is sitting comfortably in this group, 250 watts, 84 revs per minute at the moment. Our screen showing she is currently right underneath the red. Yes, mate, you read them out. It's the red bit of Russ's indicator there. So let's just see if it gets a little quiet. We'll drop a thumbs up, down on Belle. There it goes. So it's just sitting above Belle and riding comfortably there. Nice set of revs, rolling round at 300 watts at the moment. Mark Thwaites in this group. Now Mark, one of the bigger riders, he's going to be kicking out a fair amount of watts on his way through. 357 watts for Mark. So if we just shoot up to go show you Mark currently in the orange jersey. He's got a black helmet on there. It comes up on your screen. So that's Mark Thwaites. He's got Kai Morris. Morris isn't too far away from him either here. So he is just sitting alongside. Looks like Matt Stevens just starting to come back through this pack, I think, at the moment. Morris just pushing on hard. All these riders are working very, very hard at the moment to stay in the group. Nobody wants to give any ground. Chamberlain moving up on the side here, and this is still a very, very busy pack at the moment. So we're just taking a look now. This is Fraser, and if we take a little look behind Fraser, you can see the riders all pretty much amassed behind him, and looks like Dean now going up on to the front of this group. So it's Dean who's moved his way up onto the front. You can see this is a huge pack. Not quite sure what everybody's been eating for breakfast, but I want some, that's for sure. These guys are absolutely hammering, and you can see by the distance, there's distance down already. Oh, looks like Ross Lamb's been spat out the back of this group that is continuing onwards. Matt Stevens still sitting comfortably in it. Good to see him riding strongly. And certainly one of the riders who doesn't seem to put on any weight. Seems to be just as lean as ever. And Matt Stevens being quiet. I think Matt is definitely being quiet, because I think he's hanging on at the moment, because this pack is not messing about at all. Just watching Barnett go through. Copeland sitting right up on the corner. So certainly it looks like everybody's trying to hold that front. Looks like Tunnicliffe is right in there. I'm going to take a little bit of a look back down towards the back of this group if we can. And that's quite simply because it's going to give us a little bit of an idea who is just down and who is finding it tough on the back of this group as they go down and through. So at the moment it's looking pretty steady at the moment. This group is still holding together. Nobody totally getting distance. It is just a fast moving group at the moment. We're going to try and drop our way down towards the back of this group, because if we can get nearer to the back, we might get a better indication of just whether we're going to get a split out of this group. So looks like Barnard is sitting a little bit nearer to the back here. Jess Evans is hanging on in there. Looks like Russ just being distanced a little bit here, and that's certainly not like Russ. So we're just going to keep a little look at the back of that group. So as we go through, you can just see Russ sitting near the back of the group there. One or two riders just starting to be spat out of the back of the group. Jess Evans just about holding on in there. It looks like Lamb's got himself back in again. Bailey Wilmot's in that danger zone as well. Looks like Kogan's in that danger zone behind Russ at the moment. Barnard just dropping back. Evans is in there. Dan Kogan, come on Dan. Now Dan, one of the Sigma Sport riders that we see regularly. Putting some great performances, some great writing, some great articles as well. And the moment working his way up in towards the back of that group. Now the gaps are starting to open. We're just going to take a little bit of a look back from Jess here. So this is Jess Evans on the back of the group. And we're just going to have a little bit of a roll around. As you can see behind that is the group of Shaw, of Wilmot and Callaway are working the way in here. Dan Cogan 2 minutes 13 down. Is that really how far that group behind is? That shows you the pace of this group. That is scary, scary stuff. So as Shaw just goes past the Sitwell rider, just moving his way around. So Jess not jumping on the back there. Bailey Wilmot's going to come alongside, I think. And Jess will want to jump on the back of them. Callaway currently sitting at 5 seconds. But if we look around, if we work our way around, you can just see as these riders go down into the tunnel, they are just being distanced, and the front of that group is in danger of riding away. We're going to go on to the climb. This is going to suit our lighter riders because it isn't much. It's only 4% coming up here, but this is where the splits occur. If you're not at the very front of the group now, then this is where you start to find that you're going to get distanced as you come through now. How's Joe Tinley doing? Joe, I would expect to be sitting in this group. She's just about holding on in there. Joe's a powerful rider. She's been getting some serious miles in. Those are the cars riding for the Counts Tifosi squad this season. And it's a pretty distinctive kit, it has to be said. It's a little different to the green kit she's riding in today on here. But as we watch these riders, you can see Joe just holding on to the back wheel there of Connor Swift. Well, there's no worse wheels to be holding on to the back of as you come up and over that section of the climb into this dip. Connor definitely got the power and the speed to wind himself back into that group. Just watching behind it, looks like Little coming through as well there. So Little's gone through. Just seeing Story now on their way through. So Story just jumping onto the wheel of Tinley. So there we go. Story from the Isle of Man works onto the side of Tinley there. These two riders making the way up. They're going to try and close this gap down, I'm sure, on the riders in the front. We're going to take a little bit of a look now at our KSM Pro Connor Swift. So the riders now go onto that little drop down. This is a bit of a descent down here. Drops to minus 4% as these guys work their way down the front of this group. In front though, it's starting to string out, and you can see that the speed is pretty high here. Now as they go down onto the straight, it's one long line and the gaps are opening here. You can't afford to let these gaps go. The problem with any kind of bunch race, if you let that gap go and you can see behind the gaps have opened, you're going to be distanced. You're going to have to put in so much work to stay back on that group. And there's an even bigger split occurring in front, and that's because I think we're going to see these riders are currently going to push for the line. We're going to try and move our way up towards Russ Downing, who's going to be sat in that group. So here we go, we're in with Russ now, our Chevron rider. So here he is sitting on the wheels of Scott Thwaites at the moment. If we zoom out, you can see they're just sitting on the back of that group as they come round the corner. So these riders are just about in contact. Whitehead's got back on, Clark is in there, Connor Swift is just about making contact now. He won't want to let this gap go, and you can just see as they come round, Russ sitting in with this pack. Now the fastest time last time through up here was a 10.7 from Russ Downing. It was Joey Walker with a 10.71, Clark with a 10.74. You can't afford to go too early here. Now you can just see Clark moving up with a Q on his back here. Clark's already kicking out 12 watts per kilo on his way up here, 13 watts per kilo. That's a big old number to be kicking out at this stage. You can see everybody's putting in some big numbers here, 15, 16 watts per kilo. Clark's putting in 14.4 for the line. Has he improved on his time? He goes through, and you can see there that time of Clark's 9.63. That is some ride by Clark, and you can just see that Daryl Clark has smashed them a lot across the line. He's eased off now. I'm not surprised. 0.7 watts per kilo. He's going to need to pick that up soon because they're coming, and they're coming past him quick here. But what a ride at 9.63. Now Stevenson with a 10.69 going in front of Russ Downing and Jay Walker's 10.7, 10.71. What a great ride there by Clark. That was a really well timed. You saw him on the run in, getting the speed up before he even hit the sprint line. Got up at 13 watts per kilo. He then went right up there and pushed the pace up. And that just shows you just how hard you have to work to get yourself up into the group. Now, let's take a little bit of a look up at Matt Stevens. Not focused on Matt yet. That's not for any particular reason, other than we just got to find him. So here we go. Matt Stevens in the group, working his way up. Has he got the curly hair, though? That's the question. We want to know this. Let's have a little look. Matt, what have you done? You've cut your hair off, mate. It's just not good enough. We expected big curly locks from Matt. I've seen the pictures of his lockdown haircut. It doesn't look anything like that, believe me. So Matt in the orange on the Zwift bike there, holding his own in the group. The orange cap on as well, just going down through. Looks like Copeland's still in this group as well. Then the women's sprint as well as the men. Have we seen any new times in there? Just taking a little bit of a look down there. I don't think Matt Stevens is going to touch the front of the riders. Joe Tindley, I think it still is. I'm just going to have confirmation of that if we can. But I think it is going to be Tindley who's still holding the sprint. Yeah, certainly looks like it. Bell's coming with 11.97, but it is still Tindley, I think, with 11.84, who's still our fastest female rider. Our fastest male rider, though, and that is Daryl Clark. Clark coming through. The only rider sub 10 seconds at 9.63. Well, Matt Stevens going wow and keeping an eye out. It's on what's going on, and looks pretty quick. Not a race, it's just quick, says Russ. Well, I'll tell you something. I've been in some fast chain gangs over the years and got spat out of most of them, and I have to say this is definitely a very, very quick chain gang indeed. The Donny chain gang attracting so many pro riders, a massive thank you to all the pros who come out to ride, as well as all of our star riders. Rebecca Charlton was with us out on the Innsbruck ring on Tuesday. We had Andrew Roach. We've got Connor Swift in here. Scott Thwaites taking victory last time around. Of course, Russ and Dean down in regulars on the chain gang as well, as this group makes its way through. And I think Scott Thwaites just holding his fire at the moment as this group goes through. Just keeping an eye on the names. So Joey Walker right up in this group as at the very, very front. It looks like Tunnicliffe is still in this group as well. Looks like Daryl Clark just rolling up the side of Thwaites there, up alongside Kapinski. Carl Kapinski moving his way through past Sutcliffe, just as seen. Hanley's in that group. Andrew Roach is in there. First time out, Andrew Roach had a pretty tough time, and it's probably fair to say that as this group gets whittled down, Andrew Roach finding his legs and certainly looking very, very comfy in there. So let's see if we've got any of our youngsters in this group. It's going to be interesting to see just who is in there. Looks like Rob Copeland, Connor Swift, Dan Barnett, Tom Knight, Jerome Jacob. It looks like Dave Fulton, James Allen, Richard Dobson's in there, Braybrooks in there, Kai Morris in there. Looks like Neil is in this group as well. But the very leading group is pretty packed, and it looks to me like Connor Swift has decided to get things moving up near the front. It's like GCC sort of hanging into this group comfortably at the moment, not doing too much work. GCC, the rider there with the man with the black jersey, just working his way through. Now, here we go. Toy's in this group. Now, Toy's one of those riders who we know is quick. He's one of our very fast riders. He's one of these riders who we know can really make a difference if he goes for it. He can take that sprint. We've seen him take sprints before, Is he going to be able to do so this time round? Sam Toy, one of our fast riders, currently looking reasonably comfy. Matt Stevens kicking out 4.2 watts per kilos. Joey Walker 3.6. Ted Tunnicliffe 4.3. These riders are going well. Chris Hilbert's nicely in here still from Pines. Let's see if we can get a look at Chris. So Chris Hilbert in this group, another of our youngsters. I'm just going to go give Chris a thumbs up definitely for his ride at the moment. There he goes, down on the rider with the green jersey. See the red edges to the helmet there. And riding on the pink bike, and that's Hilbert from Pine Cycles. Another of the regular riders on the national scene, and looking reasonably comfortable at the moment. Just taking a little bit of a look back, looks like one or two riders just feeling the pace now. A lot of riders are trying to stay in this group as long as they can. If you do that, that's great, but you're generally right on the absolute limit, and when that happens, when it goes pop, it really goes pop. And that's, I think, what we're going to find from our riders as we go into the finish. The big boys are starting to wind it up on the front with people like Connor Swift right up on the front. Looks like Fraser now sitting up near the front here as well. As just watching Hilbert move his way up and through. Certainly looks to me like everybody is motoring here. That's Tom Knight. I think that's going to be one of our Halo Wheels ambassadors. Tom Knight, who was on the attack in Innsbruck Ring about 10 days ago. He went clear. And it was Laverick who got the better of him coming in to the finish. No Laverick here tonight that we've seen. It certainly looks to me like we're going to see Tom Knight in action. He flew up the climb. Very reminiscent of the way that Scott Thwaites did on Tuesday, that's for sure. Barnett's still in here, Kenny in here, Fraser's in here, Dobson is in here comfortably. Connor Swift sitting in this group as well. You can just see this group is just bobbing about as it goes through. It certainly looks reasonably comfortable at the moment. These are riders maybe just easing off a touch as we can just see. I think our first of all, that rider is about 3 minutes or so up the road in front, who's likely to get caught by this faster moving pack. Now I think that's going to be Thornley, who's just moved his way up towards the front. There's a few Peugeot jerseys, but Thornley is one of our regular riders who is going to take the jersey. So I think it is going to be one of our faster riders right up at the front of the group. Let's have a little look what Dan Barnett is up to here. Dan, of course, a fast tester. Is he going to be the rider who's going to be able to string it out as we go through? Connor Swift, though, really is on form at the moment. You can just see it's Connor who is leading this group out as he leads the group. If we zoom across and back from Connor, he's just dropping in, just seeing Knight coming around the side there, just watching. I think it is going to be Connor who's dropping back into the middle. Joey Walker quite quiet tonight. Joey just sitting in this group. How's Joey doing at the moment? Looks pretty smooth still. Back with this is Sam Barnett, I think. He's just working through here. So as these riders come in to the bends here, this group's still holding together. Scott Thwaites is holding the last wheel in the group pretty much here. As we watch them move on through. So it looks to me like Thwaites just hovering around the back. Kapinski not too fast paced. Roach is right up in there as well. Let's see if we can try to keep with that camera shot up as high as we can. Matt Stevens is right up in this group as well. And Gale is in here, Barnett's in here, Singleton's in here. This group is not breaking up too much. We're only losing the odd rider. Nothing too drastic as Gale goes up through there. Gale with 3.8 watts per kilo, 330 watts. There's plenty of people working a lot harder than that. I think I've just seen Rob Copeland go through at about 5 watts per kilo. And that is a big push. What's Cameron Fraser up to? Let's see if we can catch up with Cameron. Here we go. Now Cameron is in this group. It looks to me like he's just sitting a little bit towards the back here. So Cameron Fraser, he's the man who is in the blue jersey. He's got the purple Tron bike underneath him. Now if we just drop a thumbs up down on to Cameron right in the middle of your screen. So Cameron is in there now. I think this is going to start to break here as we come around this turn, because you can see everybody now itching to move up. The watts per kilo got at this ride is up there at 7s and 8s at the moment. As we come in towards the underpass, nobody's wanting to let this go. Then the gaps are starting to open. This group at the front are winding it up, and the riders behind are really having to. You've just seen at the moment, even Russ Downing having to use his draft here. A very big and quick by Cameron Fraser. He saw the danger. He saw the split starting to open up. And it looks to me like this group really attentive. It really has been whittled down. You can just see the group behind is smashed apart, and that push on there has distanced about half of that leading group. I'm not sure they're going to actually make this back on again. So Curtin Bowring, Jacob Gale Bell, 2 seconds. They're just being pushed back. You can see Scott Thwaites sitting comfortably in this group, right on the back of the group at the moment. Looks like Russ is in there as well, but these riders are really working hard at the moment to keep themselves in contention. Under the tunnel we go, and this is where we're going up on to the climb. Kai Morris, Jay Walker in here, Ross Lamb still in here, James Allen, is he going to go for a long one? James putting a massive attack, 6k out the last time round. Is it going to be James Allen who puts in a big attack here as we go up on to this climb? It's a 4% climb. You can just see the pressure is on. Copeland using up his feather advantage, his power up being kicked in there to give him the advantage going up that climb. He's moved to one side. Darrell Clark is in the mix here. You're going to bet against him if it comes to kick. Massive kick though coming up from Swift here. So Connor Swift has gone hard here. Has he gone for it too early? He really has gone big. We're just going to take a little bit of a look up the road here, because I think Andy Braybrook is going to try and come back at him. He is, but Connor Swift is really pushing on. He's got Fraser for company. It really is a who's who here, because Fraser is up there now. What is the damage that's been done behind these 3 riders? You can see that gap is there. Now Joey Walker, Connor Swift, Tom Knight are there. They are the 3 riders at the front. Oxenham is trying to pull them back. He's pulled that group back on them. So that attack there by Connor Swift hasn't come to fruition. He's still leading them through. At the moment, Fraser is with him. Knight has closed gap. Braybrook's there. Copeland's there. Walker is there. Who is going to be able to take this on and take the victories come through? You can just see everybody now absolutely all over the board at the moment. Absolutely nothing to give. Even the chat balls have gone quiet now. As you can see, this leading group at the moment have a slight gap. I think it's Andrew Roach who's going to be pulling back. Looks like it certainly is. Thwaites has got back in this group. This really is going to be a who's who as they come in to this finish. The man we've got to watch out for, Darrell Clark, has been distanced. He's at 1 second. He's a little bit further back. And we're coming in towards that turn. The gap has opened, and I think he could well be too far back to play a part. He's got to move up quickly to get into the spot. Copeland goes up onto the front now. As you see, O'Connor just starting to drift back a little bit. Here we go. We're going to take this turn as we come in towards the finish. And it looks to me like Clark is wanting to lead this out up at the front pretty much. So Clark is holding here. He's got the queue on his back at the moment. In front of him, you can just see it's Gavel Oxenden working hard. Who's got the kick now? It looks to me like Connor Swift is giving it some here. So who is going to be able to lead this through to the end here? He's going to get wound up very early here. Joey Walker is pushing on up near the front of this group. Who is it going to be as we run into towards the end here? Fraser's working hard. A massive kick in and through the finish there. So you can just see these are riders all now just easing off as they've come through. Darrell Clark going through hard. Connor Swift giving it an absolute beasting on his way in and through. And it looks like Knight now attacking over the top. So it looks like Knight and Barnett have gone over the top of them on the way through here. Putting a big old kick through that final stretch. So As the camera just backs off a little bit at the moment, we're going to take a little bit of a look back. Now the rest of this group coming in, they're scattered all over the road here. As our riders come in towards the finish, we're going to take a little bit of a look back. At the moment, Daryl Clark is green jersey still holding that way. He's putting in a massive kick into that finish as well. Brilliant stuff from our riders yet again on the Donny Chain Gang, and great to see. We're going to work our way back through these groups because we're going to try and get ourselves back down to our groups coming into the finish. So it looks to me like Bowring are just starting to ease off here. Matt Stevens is in and over the line. Well done to Matt. And it certainly looks at the moment like these riders have definitely put in a shift today. There's people in all kinds of states out there, and that is for sure. So well done to all of our riders who've got through. As we'll keep an eye on Matt Stevens. 41 watts at the moment. I bet his heart rate is down, so more than 41 at the moment going through. So it looks to me like these riders doing a great job of getting themselves in. Fantastic stuff, guys. So we take a little bit of a look back. We're going to try and catch up with some of the other riders who are out on circuit. Don't forget all of the action brought to you here by Downing Cycling. The guys are doing the business for us today, making sure that everybody gets their rides in and gets your good workout and keeping it all together. Myself, Matt Payne, of course, helping on the tech side, and of course keeping the words to the action. I want to say a massive thank you to all of our supporters, all of our partners, to the guys at Grand Tour Coffee, to Halo Wheels, to Pinarello, to OCE Wahoo, HMT Hustles, and of course Mallorca Cycling. Don't forget, if you want to help us, we can always improve the coverage. And to do that, all you need to do is get in touch with me. That's Matt at Full Speed Events. You can get in touch with Russ Ordine at Russ Ordine at Downing Cycling. Don't forget to make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, so that we can keep all of the action coming to you. And don't forget, of course, that we are always on the lookout for people to help support the events, so spot prizes. A massive thank you to everybody who's helped us out so far on the rides, because our rides have had plenty of spot prizes. Now we're going to watch our next group coming in towards the finish here as the rain comes down. We can just take a little bit of a look up the course at the moment. We're going to have a little look at this Fraser group here as the rest of the riders start to make their way in. We're going to work our way up. We can't afford to go just too far because we will end up getting ourselves mixed up with the rest of the group. So let's see, who have we got who got distance from that front group. So it looks like Farrell and Double Barnard and Kidd on the way in. Jess Evans, I think Jess is going to be a group of two, and it looks like it's short of Sitwell on her wheel at the moment. So I think Jess just making her way round on towards the mile here. So Jess on a double day today, on a double session, one after the other as well. Just working her way in towards the finish here. Well done to Jess of the Essos ride before, being followed up by the Donny Chain Gang. So they're making their way into the finish. Shaw and Evans behind them. Then I think it's going to be Callaway who's on his own. Behind him, though, we've got riders together, and this is the group that contains John Smith out of the saddle. It's got Finch in there as well. So John Smith in there, Ryan Williams, Davis, Finch, Keith Fox is in this group as well. I think just going to double check. Sorry, John Smith, Ryan Williams, Dave Finch, Ted in here, and it looks like Williams just been just Fox just a little bit further back as they come in here. So our three riders going to make the way in. So well done to Mr. Smith and to Mr. Finch and to Ted, all going to be making the way in behind them then. it is going to be Fox, who's in a little group here. So Fox just being chased here by Lightfoot. If we take a look back, I think they're quite clear at the moment. Yeah, they are. There's one rider chasing. So it is going to be Lightfoot, Shelley and Fox. The chasing rider is Genther. Behind them then, I think this is going to be Cusack. Remember Cusack, the rider from Brixton Cycles, who took the green jersey when we were out at Innsbruck here. Now riding in, leading this group in, and this group with Gibbons, Dan Evans. It's got Royals, we've got Big Man in there as well. Orals on this group just about as these riders start to make their way in towards the left turn that takes them towards Trafalgar Square, dropping down towards St James's Palace and hang a left hand turn quite quickly away from St James's Palace and heading down towards T Square. It is going to be Oral who rolls his way onto the front, and then Kushak followed by Big Man. Dan Evans in this group as well. He's not going to be wanting to miss out on this. Royals as well coming through. So here we go. They're going to be making their way around on to Trafalgar Square. And more groups forming behind. That's a big thing about the chain, and that's what we were looking for. We're looking for our riders to have a great workout, to have a great ride, but also to start to ride with other riders to get the pace up and get dragged along and get some PBs, which we keep seeing time and time again. So this group of 6 look like they're secure in towards the finish. And I went back against Cusack taking the sprint hill there. Dan Evans is a very handy sprinter indeed. I think a little bit tired today. Well, I'm trying to get him distanced by Jess, who he's already seen coming through into the finish. So as these riders come in towards the turn, here we go, around that turn, and I'm going to head underneath Admiralty Arch. So through they come, and going underneath the shadow of Admiralty Arch, heading down in, and directly in front of them they're going to see the finishing gantry there, and the riders now know that the ride nearly at an end. We're going to take a jump back from this group as they roll their way down into the finish. The next group back behind them, I think, is going to be Mr. Richards in on his own. Then we're going to see Mr. Gill rolling in under Admiralty Arch as well. Lots of solo riders. Harris, I think, has broken clear. Let's have a little look. No, he's got a nice big group in with him here. So let's have a little look at this group. This is a bigger group here. And it looks to me like this is going to be Harris as the sprint unfolds in front. Kushak coming through in front of Evans. Big Man going his way in as well. This group behind working well together here. So this looks to me like this is going to be Howis, Fraser, Knight in this group. Payne's in this. You've got Boyle in there. You've got Victoria Chavaria in here as well. Who's going to take this sprint for the line here? I think this is the last of our really big groups just making the way in. So we're going to stay and focus on these guys as they come in towards the finish. We'll take a view at the moment. Looks like it's being led out here by Emma Payne, then coming round the side. Here comes Boyle. So Boyle just comes around the side. Then it is a Knight. Has anybody got anything left in their legs to sprint for the finishing line here? They're into the final 200. I don't think anybody's got much left here at all. Now comes the kick. Elvin is going for it here. Wayne Elvin has really kicked on hard. I think he could well have this. So I think it's going to be Elvin who's going to take this. It is Elvin goes through in front of Howard, and then it is going to be Fraser. It looks like Vic just in front of Emma there. The group making the way in. Still a few riders to come through that line. A little bit further back, looks like Taylor chasing Mr. Crehan there. Crehan just in behind Bolt and Fraser. And plenty of riders on the way in. So well done to all of our riders who have come in to the finish as we watch Mr. Bolt make his way in towards the finish. We're going to wrap up for the night. Don't forget, make sure you tell your friends to come and join the chain gang. The bigger the group, the more we can get groups forming behind that can really motor on. There's somebody for everybody to ride behind. Try and keep it together for the initial run in, and then once it starts splitting, everybody gets dropped with the lead group containing people like Scott Thwaites, Cam Fraser, Russ Downing, et al. Pretty much gone. The Swift National Champ. It's a real who's who. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you tell your friends to watch the links, watch the footage. Make sure, of course, that you get yourselves onto the next Chain Gang. It's been a pleasure putting words to the action. So from me, Matt Payne, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Keep yourself safe, and we will see you, hopefully, on Tuesday.